This is a C sharp major prelude. One thing I could show you, but if you just imagine that C major spectrum that goes F on the flattest and B on the sharpest, and just put a sharp in front of everything, you've got C sharp major. C sharp major is 7 sharps, everything is sharp. What that means is if you have a natural, that's a flat. In the land of all the sharps, the flat person is the natural. I guess it's an old saying about that. So looking here for naturals is like looking for flats. And looking for double sharps, anything that's going to be on the sharp side has to go into the double sharps. So you see things like that F double sharp and C double sharp and G double sharp. It gets almost into double sharp city over here. Basically, that's, if this piece were written in C, those would be sharps. When we transpose the whole thing into the key of C sharp, then we have double sharps. The plot of this piece is quite simple, but extremely effective. And that's that there is a strand of material that goes from parent to child. It sounds like this. And by the time we get to the end of it, we are in the child key. We started out in C sharp, ended up in G sharp, which is the child. Once you've got that engine built, then you can keep riding it. It's like the other sequence. You could go on forever with this. What keeps it somewhat always a little more intriguing than just riding that train is the shifting back and forth. So the blue on the bottom, the tan on top, becomes tan on the bottom. Now we shift around. If we keep going and staying in the key pretty close to our key of 7 sharps, when we are taking this train through the circle of fifths, or through the spectrum of fifths, we're going to start ending up into minor keys. So right now I'm in A sharp minor, which is a key I don't get to play enough. But one thing happened here, though. When you'll notice this particular strand is 1 measure short than all of the other ones, because his exit point on this subway ride was 1 measure shorter, and he uses this by stopping right here and introducing a new piece of material can completely change directions, make a transfer, I guess, to use the subway analogy, back the other way. He catches the train going back the other way, and this one is going through the spectrum in the exact opposite direction. So we went from C sharp to G sharp to D sharp to A sharp, and now we get back on this thing. This is a now, if you can hear, we're moving from this key to G sharp, and when we get to here, we're back in C sharp. And we could have jumped right from here to here, because here is an exact replay of the beginning. This and this is exactly the same. But what's in between are 2 extra bits of material. It's as if Bach missed a stop and had to go one more stop on the subway before having to get back on. So he goes all the way into the land of F sharp, and then he can take the same ride that took him from C sharp to all these other keys, to take him from F sharp, the grandparent key of this matrix, back into the opening key of C sharp major. And at this point, he's home, he's sort of made a nice little cycle, and at this point, he could have very easily wrapped up the piece. I want to play how this piece could have ended, and it would make perfectly sense. It's perfect business. That could be it. Yeah? I mean, it's there. It makes sense. It's kind of balanced. He's done everything he has to do. But instead, he adds all this wild and crazy stuff. Again, that's all this purple passages, which is all built around various extreme borrowings from the minor keys, meaning that he's pulling from the spectrum some very flat notes, throwing against some very sharp notes, and making this cadenza, which not only has this particular one, but keeps going here, then has a very long dominant pedal tone, and one further last gasp. So even though the whole thing maybe lasts 20 seconds, it's taking us through this almost maelstrom of activity, which is such a sort of contrast to the very classic, clean-cut, clear motion of the first half of the piece. So I'll play the end for you so you get to hear what happens instead of what I played. So I think there's some serendipity in that. There's just some sort of sense that there's so much more you could do, and again, maybe he didn't have enough chance to play pieces in C sharp major, so he thought he'd make a little more out of that. Here is the C sharp major fugue.